ground. Some of them are influenced by what they see to be the consensus that is building up. So you see people coming from other parts of the country telling their story or adding their voice to those who may have been convinced or otherwise already. So at that stage, people intensify the lobbying process. So as soon as the call to the event, that's the Congress or the conference, is made, then they all start moving inside. So you notice that the enthusiasm, the singing, the drumming, the dancing, the movement within the space where we are is limiting. It will tell you that many of the people are now gradually moving in, and you can see from the hall that it looked empty, and now it's becoming full. It is also instructive to know that there we have some of the founding members of the party. We have former MPs, former ministers, former party executives, and then all of them are in there, and some of them are even lobbying candidates because they have an interest. I was speaking to one former member of parliament who is the director of administration of the party, and he said he became a member of parliament in 1992, but for the exercise that was starting officially, I would have loved to ask him to tell us what kind of leadership is the party looking at. So at the time they were electing him the member of parliament in 1992, that was the same time you had the kinds of Harun Edrusus and so on, who were also coming into the fold, the E.T. Mensahs and so on, who were also in the fold and so on. So I wanted to find out from him the level of party activism at that time, 1992, right after the military regime, when the 1992 constitution was born. MPP was a political party. They boycotted elections, the first parliamentary elections. NDC was a political party formed out of the PNDC with Rawlings as their leader. So I wanted to have a feel from him the kind of atmosphere, and when we talk about politics, how it used to be. But for now, that is how it's been. It looks like you have picked some information about what has truncated the process.
For viewers to understand this vividly, there is actually some power fluctuation in the main auditorium. Thus, we lost sound, but I understand that's been rectified. The technicians are actually working on that, and once we get the sound back, we'll be joining the main auditorium for the entire process to continue.
So it will look like the part one hasn't officially ended.
As it stands
and so
now,
just after the chairman was wrapping up, we had that power fluctuation, and that is being rectified. And so for those of you who have just joined Wizard TV, this is the live coverage of the 10th NDC Youth and Women Conference 2022. How do you call it? Randy has the theme for the event this year, and don't forget that after this youth and women conference, the party will converge again for the bigger one, which will be at the Accra Sports Stadium next Saturday. So next Saturday, but this time you will be glued by your TV set watching Wizard TV, TVXYZ, which will be bringing you live coverage from different angles. And you must also remember that at the event that will be taking place in Accra, you'll be looking at the chairman, the general secretary, the Zongo caucus, and several other portfolios in the party. Randy, I think you have that list. If you have it, you may want to share with us those when they converge in Accra, who they will be voting for. And so that is what I want us to share while we are waiting for the Congress, the conference to resume after the electrical problem is rectified. So at Accra, what will be happening?
All right, so in Accra, so that's basically in about a week time, we'll be the NDC will be going to the polls once again to elect the chairman. So I'm going to help you understand or know the race so far. You have the incumbent Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, who spoke a few minutes ago. He's still in that race. He's been contested by the general secretary of the party, Johnson Asiedu Nketia. There is also Ni Ama Ashite and also Samuel Yao Edwise. So these four men are contesting or vying for that particular slot. Who becomes the winner will be determined on Saturday at the Accra Sports Stadium. But of course, you need some deputies or vice chairmen to assist this particular chairman as well. So for the slot of the vice chairman, you have Abanga Yakubu Hassan, you have Seth Ofori Ohini, Sharif Abdul Nasiru, Alhaji Habibu Adramani. We also have Alhaji Amadu Abukari Sorogo. That's a popular name you can't go without. Awudu Sofo Azoka is also in the race. That's also another name that when mentioned, it comes with memories. Dr. Sherry Ayite is also in that race, and also Evelyn Enyuna Mensa in that particular race as well.
So that does it with the chairmanship.
Yeah.
Of course, we will also look at the general secretary and other positions. For the chairmanship, it looks interesting, but for now, public opinion or opinion NDC delegates. So just that two of them are the hot candidates.
Yeah.
The incumbent and General Johnson Asedu and Katia. There are two others, Asini Amashite and a fourth person. So far, it doesn't look like the competition is carrying them along. And then if you look at the deputy chairmanship position too, there are some interesting names there.
Yeah.
But for those who have just joined us, it looks like very soon the event will be rolling up. So if we'll get the feedback, we'll join the main Congress grounds and then we continue from there.
Well, so if we have the indication, then we can cross over quickly to the main auditorium.
We are now going to introduce all the aspirants. We have a total of 1,862 delegates. We also do have 18 aspirants who are contesting for 6 positions. At the right time and in due course, we will give an opportunity to every aspirant to address the conference for a maximum of 2 minutes. At this point, though, I will quickly run through the list of persons who are contesting the various positions. For women's organizer, there are 2 candidates. We have Margaret Ansay and Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisiu. For deputy women's organizer, 4 of them: Abigail Elon Mensah, Jifatega, Jesse Adams, and Hajia Alijata Suleiman Agbentie. For deputy youth organizer, we have 10 of them. And here is a list: Osman Ayariga, Ruth Delacedo, Bright Nudokbo Honu, Karim Benzema, Mohammed Sadiq Gombila, Ahmed Kabiru, Eric Datsin, Pendilok Owusu-Asari, Obed Opinta, and Jude Sekle. And last but not the least, 2 candidates or 2 aspirants for the position of youth organizer. 1, Broja Jemfi. 2, George Opari Ado. So ladies and gentlemen, here is a list of the aspirants, 18 of them contesting for 6 positions in the women and youth wings of our party. At this point, though, I have the singular honor and pleasure of inviting Honorable Al-Hassan Suyini, a very, very accomplished broadcaster and distinguished MC. He is also a very fine young member of parliament. Please put your hands together for him as he comes to take you through the rest of the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable James Ajenum Boateng. Maybe it is about time we brought the spirit of the NDC into this auditorium. And on that note, I'll plead with all of us to rise and to give your attention to me as we invoke the spirit of the party to perhaps be blessed so we can continue with the program. Hey, 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 hey. The victory of NDC is coming again. And the people say, hey, Joe, Bojo. The victory of NDC is coming again. And the people say, hey, Joe, Bojo. Say, and the people say, hey, Joe, Bodo. I thank you very much. Please, let's resume our seats. And let us all who can reach the various contestants do so, and invite them to take this glorious opportunity to show respect to the delegates that are seated waiting to have them address them today before we hand over to the Electoral Commission to conduct this election. With us here today are delegates from across the country, from all the 16 regions and all the constituencies. We have already been addressed by the national chairman of the party. We will also be getting a word from the chairman of the organizing committee soon. And right after that, we will take reports from the National Youth Organizer who I saw a while ago. We will also take a report from the National Women Organizer who is a contestant. Then we will take our break and return to conduct the election. So it is not meant to be a very long program. But I will at this point once again urge everyone who has the contact of the contestants to urge them to show themselves to the delegates at this point. They must take their seats so that they can be appropriately recognized and given the opportunity possibly to address the conference before voting take place. I think it is only a mark of respect if they show up. But at this point, I will invite the DJ pass one of the part songs so that we can crave the indulgence of chairman of the local organizing committee to address the conference. you very much, DJ. Once again, maybe a final one, appealing to the contestants, 18 contestants, to please take their seats, because right after the address by the local organizing committee, we will begin to introduce and acknowledge the contestants. And if they are absent, probably their seats will be shown to all. And I'm sure the delegates will decide what that means. But please, if you know any contestant, this is the time to let the contestant know that he or she must take his or her seat. And let me pay tribute to Alhaji ABA Fuseni as I borrow a proverb. Am I permitted to? Yes. In Dagbani they say that if you walk through the rain and you don't get wet, a bucket of water will not cut it. If you have had many days to campaign and it did not help you, it is not this last few hours that will make the difference. If you have walked through rain and you don't get wet, a bucket of water will not make any difference. So please tell them to come and take their seats so that we will give them the opportunity to possibly address Congress. But on this note, with all respect that I can gather, I invite you with a round of applause to welcome to the stage, with a round of applause, a resounding one, the local organizing committee chairman of this conference, Honorable Alex Segbefia. Please, a round of applause for him.
Good afternoon to all of you. Ayazu, Ayaza, Ayazu, MFA. Can I take this opportunity to add my voice to the welcome of all of you for this 10th Women and Youth Conference that is the precursor to the main Congress, which will take place next week Saturday at the Accra Sports Stadium. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all members of the planning committee, all the regional executives who have ensured that the delegates have come in today, and for the tireless efforts and sacrifices many have made for all of us to be here today. A lot has been said with regard to the reason we are here and the importance of our women and youth in the development of the country and the part they play within the National Democratic Congress. Hopefully today we should be able to elect two new officers in both the women's section and the youth section. Can I kindly indicate that we are not too happy with the fact that accommodation that was given to some of the delegates was not used on the campus of the university. It has created some delay and that is why some of you are still trickling in. It cannot go without being said that actually when a party plans and put things together of this nature, there are security concerns as well as accommodation costs that are looked at. And not to adhere to the restrictions and the directives of the party is not acceptable. We want to put everybody on notice that we hold the regional women and youth organizers responsible for anyone who did not use the premises here, and whichever new executive comes in after the 18th, we'll be looking at possible sanctions of such individuals. It will not be left so that it does not repeat itself in 4 years' time. It is also important to take note that the EC will soon be coming in to see whether we can conduct these elections. We have certain issues which we are still resolving, but without much ado, we will not be looking to ensure that we spend more time seated doing nothing. I would ask and beg the indulgence of all of you to take a short lunch break of approximately 45 minutes, so that at 1/2 the next hour we can all converge and begin to look at the voting process. I want to take this opportunity once again to say that a lot of effort has gone into putting this program together, and I pray and hope that we'll end up with a successful conference. On that note, I take this opportunity to say God bless you all. Thank you.
Revolution has a long way to go, but it's time to stay. Revolution has a long way to go, but it's time to stay.
As you heard from the chairman of the local organizing committee, they are taking a short break for lunch. Many of the delegates have been waiting for the past 4 hours. Some came last night. We understand that the organizers are not too comfortable with the delay, and so as we speak, the delegates will be taking a 45 minutes break, after which we'll enter the second part. The second part would mean the EC is taking over. By that time, all the candidates would have been around. They will be introduced formally to the delegates, and then EC will take over, and the voting will start running.
It's going to be quite a long day, but of course, let's see how it's going to pan out to be. But you see, the whole thing looks like, I mean, what's really happening to the delegates?
The delegates have delayed.
How come they are not here?
The delegates are around.
Because this program was supposed to have started at 10 a.m.
Yes.
And it's almost 2 p.m. and we are still, asking and pleading, virtually pleading with the delegates and then the aspirants to come in.
And that is why the chairman of the local organizing committee said, after they call the delegates, so the candidates, and they introduce them, anybody who's not here, they will show an empty seat.
Yes.
So it looks like they are now trying to crack the whip.
But for me, I feel that is even to your disadvantage, because you would have the opportunity to speak to the larger number of people who are seated in the auditorium. Because that, according to the lineup, they would have given the time to the candidates to address the delegates.
This is the observation I made. It appears some of the candidates may not have had the opportunity to go around the whole country, so they may have used this place to try to reach out to as many from the regions, and some of them may have ended up keeping some of the delegates with them for too long. And so as soon as they release them, other candidates also try to take advantage to engage them to send their last message before the voting starts. But as we speak, they are introducing the candidates. So I would ask us to go inside the auditorium to follow proceedings, and we wrap up after that.
Please be reminded.
All right, so we'll try as much as possible to cross over to the main auditorium, because we understand some of the candidates are available. Well, if we don't have that now, but more people are still arriving according to what we pick from the main background. It seems a lot of people are arriving. We saw Pablo, who is the incumbent youth organizer. He just passed by. also moving towards the main auditorium as well. But let's see how it pans out to be.
I'm also making an observation. It appears some of the candidates are trying to test the ground even before voting starts. So you see them moving around, just looking at faces, looking at body languages of people, looking at expression on their faces to have a feel of what is most likely to happen, because what they are observing outside, the applause or otherwise, is what will inform them about what they can anticipate. And that is another thing I'm observing, and all is part of what goes into such elections. But I can only sympathize with the candidates because it appears some of the seats will be very, very keenly contested. And as the late Sir John said, you can't trust delegates these days. They may listen to you. You may decide to even tell them all the wonderful stories in the world. They may have made up their mind, but out of respect, they will wait and listen to you. You can keep them for as long as you want, but when they leave and they enter the cage, that is when they will decide.
And for me, that has been my position all throughout, that I mean, by now the delegates should have decided. I don't know what really would necessitate a change of mind. You had all this ample
you
time.
asked that question
I spoke with Osman Ayariga. Now, interestingly, he told me that he started his campaign 2 years ago. You can just imagine, 2 years ago, that was in 2020. So he might have thought perhaps the larger parts of the country. According to him, he mentions that along the line when economic hardship came here and there, he had to pause it for a while. When COVID also came in the early parts of 2020, he had to pause it for a while. But according to him, he says that he has done most of the touring. So he doesn't really need to keep the delegates waiting as at now. I spoke with him in the auditorium and he was fully ready. He was already seated.
He was very confident.
Very confident. And I think that, yes, if you really want to win, you should have started way back. It's not today. And you see, delegates will take advantage of the situation, knowing so well that, well, you might not have reached out to us, but today, because you think that it is a final day, few minutes, few hours to the voting, you are not coming to talk to us. That is where the issue of hand go, hand come begins. And for me, I think that it is a no-no. We wouldn't want to see that in this particular election.
If I were a delegate, it is not about the number of times you visit me.
Okay.
That should influence how I decide.
Okay.
It will be my appreciation of your track record, or what I believe you can do.
Okay.
That should inform
your
my decision. And so while some of the delegates appreciate that, those who visit them do so out of respect. They don't take them for granted. They want to reach out. They want to have one-on-one and spend time with them to understand concerns that they have. You know, some of the candidates, when they go around, they spend time listening to the people as well. They may hear complaints about other people who may be contesting or maybe incumbents who have had challenges that may have disappointed them, for which reason they may want to listen to another candidate and take a decision. So the process is quite complicated, but I would say that even if I had the opportunity to plan 2 years ago and I would have done all the rounds, met all the people, at this stage anything can happen. Human beings are not robots, they are not machines, to the extent that once they have made up their mind, they may not change. Somebody at the very dying minute may pass a word or two and change somebody's mind. That is why sometimes people enter cages and within 3, 4, 5 minutes they are still in there and they become confused. They cannot even vote till somebody prompts them that they are wasting time. So naturally there are people who are very indecisive, and till the very last minute they may still be hanging on till they are very ready to go and vote. So this may happen. So let's take it. But I think the signal that came from Alex Egbefia should be strong enough. The party should not wait for any candidate who is disrespecting the time, the official time that has been mentioned or sent across for this exercise to start.
Anyway, so we might be taking a quick break, and officially it means that part 1 of the whole ceremony has really ended, and of course part 2 will begin when the EC takes over. Any more information on what's happening?
Yes, so that's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
I had a copy of the program. I call it tentative copy, and so I wanted to share. So you would notice that, as you said, it was supposed to have started at 10 o'clock. with an opening prayer, opening of the conference, which has been done now, welcome address by the Central Regional Chairman done, roll call of regions by a Central Regional Organizer. I don't think that has been done. Presentation of the report by the National Youth Organizer has not been done. Presentation of report by the National Women Organizer has not been done. Address by the Chair of the Congress Elections Committee, Alex Segbefia, has been done. Now, when we come back for the part 2, the part 2 will be the introduction of the aspirants. Then the handing over of proceedings to the Electoral Commission, casting of votes, declaration of winners, brief remarks by newly elected national women's and youth organizers, then closing remarks, closing prayer, and those who can begin their journey back to the constituencies may do so today. So that's a brief about what will happen from this time till the results are declared.
Well, so it means that we still have a long way to go.
Yes, a long way to go.
I don't know if it means that they are going to skip some of the key points that were supposed to be in the part 1.
No, they are statutory. So every conference, it is almost like a president who is handing over. He has to make some comments. So you debrief the constituents, the delegates, and so at that stage the women's organizer would have to speak to the delegates to let them know so far how far we are and what they expect to happen going forward, and that will be the document the party will own, so that when the next leadership take over, they will take that speech and then go to follow up on the things they need to look at, and then do the reconciliation, and then move on from there. So the address by the National Youth Organizer and the Women Organizer should be part of this conference. The voting cannot start without it. That is why I believe that the organizers are becoming worried by the overly what we call the delay so far. But I strongly believe that after the 45th minute, when the Congress or the conference is recalled, I think there will be no room for some of these delays.
Anyway, so I think that on that note, we could actually take a break now. But once again, if you are just tuning, this is the live telecast of the NDC's 10th annual Delegates Conference happening here at the Central Region University of Cape Coast premises. Remember, you are also live on Wezo TV and TV XYZ. I'm not doing this alone. I'm doing this with my senior colleague Eric Ahianyo, and also Wisdom. He's been with us since morning. Most definitely, when we come back for the part 2, we will still see Wisdom more. He will engage a few others, so we get to know what exactly the terrain looks like. My name is Randy Ahaji. Let's take a breather. We'll come back for the part 2. Stay with us.